So you don't need a philosopher to tell you that we live in divisive and very polarized times where disagreement, and often very toxic disagreement, is pervasive. But it might surprise you that philosophers have long thought about disagreement as a good method of getting at the truth. Now, here's a very practical activity that you could try out with a friend in order to see how this is supposed to work. Now, I'm not even going to take credit for this activity. It comes from the Center for Applied Rationality. They call it the double crux method. Here's how it works. So first, identify a significant claim that you and your dialogue partner disagree about. Now, this should be something that you're both invested in, that the truth of which is going to make a huge difference to how you live your life, but not something that your views are so settled in or that you're so emotionally attached to that you can't even handle putting this up for scrutiny. Okay, so now that you've got the claim, maybe it's, that religious people experience greater meaning in life, or maybe that, you can't have a meaningful life unless you practice a religion. Maybe it's something like that. Take a minute for you and your dialogue partner just to sketch out a few of your reasons for believing this claim, right? So if I'm a religious person and I think, religion is required to live a meaningful life, I might sketch out the reasons, well, everybody that I know who lives a deeply meaningful life practices a religion. That's one great reason, right? Sketch a couple of these out. Then you're going to compare notes, right? And you'll do this one person at a time. So focus on one of your set of reasons, right? So if it's my set of reasons, I'm going to go through and I'm going to look at these. I'm going to share these with a friend and try to figure out whether there's an assumption that if that assumption were false, you would change your mind. Okay, so in the example that I'm giving, you might think, look, if I met somebody who was an atheist and for whom atheism was like the defining feature of their life, and they seemed to have a deeply meaningful life, I would probably change my mind. Or if most of the people that I'm thinking of as having paradigmatically meaningful lives and being religious, if most of those people eventually came to me and said, my life is in crisis and I don't think there's any meaning, well, of course I would change my mind, right? Now, the great thing about this is that your discussion partner, your dialogue partner is probably going to be better at identifying these assumptions than you are, right? Because they're more invested in the falsity of the claim in question than you are, right? So to have somebody who's in real life, asking from a different perspective, different point of view about the assumptions that are underlying your view is invaluable. It's incredibly helpful. Now, once you're done going through your reasons and thinking about what assumptions underlie those, then switch, right? And just ask your discussion partner what their reasons are, and you do the very same thing for them. Now, you could continue the dialogue. You could even turn it into a debate and say, well, now that we've both sort of articulated our positions, let's actually argue about this a bit. But you don't have to. The neat thing about this method is that if you just practice this, and if you practice it, seriously enough, if you take it really seriously, you're going to find yourself over the next couple hours, days, maybe even weeks, coming back to this question, and you may surprise yourself by shifting your viewpoint a little bit, even if it's not, going from like religion is required for a meaningful life to like, now I'm an atheist. No, like that's not likely to happen, but it could change your mind even slightly, right? Maybe you think, look, a lot of my reasons for believing what I did on that question, they're not as strong as I thought they were. Or maybe I need new reasons or better reasons. Or maybe I should just go out and try to find people who are living meaningful lives, but committed deeply in this way to atheism. So if you can do this, right? And the point is not, to end in skepticism, but rather to try to figure out whether your belief is true, then you're going to make significant progress toward what philosophers think is the ultimate goal, and that is achieving a true view of the world.